Hello everyone, my name is Prathamesh Kulkarni and today I will be presenting on one of the most important tools used in cybersecurity and web application testing, that is Burp Suite. This presentation is part of my ongoing CyberSapiens course where we explore different cybersecurity concepts and tools. Burp Suite is a professional grade toolkit used by ethical hackers, penetration testers, and security researchers to identify vulnerabilities in web applications. So, over the next few slides, I will walk you through what Burp Suite is, how it works, its key components, and demonstrate how it helps strengthens web security. So, what is Burp Suite? Let's start with the basics. Burp Suite is developed by a company called Portswigger, and it is widely recognized as the industry standard tool for web application security testing. So it acts as a proxy between your web browser and the target web application. Means that all of your traffic that goes from your browser to the server passes through Burp Suite. This allows to us to inspect, modify, or block requests. The main purpose of using Burp Suite is to find vulnerabilities such as cross-site scripting, SQL injection, CSRF, all of which can be exploited by attackers if not properly secured. So one of the best things about Burp is that it allows both manual testing and automated scanning depending on which edition you are using, the community, the professional, or enterprise. In simple terms, Burp Suite gives ethical hackers total control over what happens between the browser and the web server. So now let's understand how Burp Suite actually works behind the scenes. When you configure your browser to use Burp's proxy, you tell it to send all the web traffic through Burp instead of directly to the internet. So when you open a web page, Burp Suite uh, request uh, intercepts the request. You can then view it or forward that request to the server. Same happens with the response. Burp receives it first, allowing you to see headers, cookies, and data before your browser displays it. This setup is what we call a man in the middle proxy, but used for legitimate testing. The architecture allows Burp to do several things. It is intercept and analyze, modify inputs to test how secure the web application is, replay the request with changes to test vulnerabilities. So effectively, Burp acts as a transparent layer between your browser and the web application, giving full visibility and control. So Burp Suite isn't just a single feature, it's a collection of integrated tools. Each tool performs a specific role during testing. So proxy is the foundation. It captures and modifies web traffic in real time. Then repeater allows you to manually resend request with modified parameters. Then intruder. So intruder automates attacks by injecting payloads into parameters, ideal for brute force or fuzzing. Then comes decoders and comparer. So decoders encodes or decodes data in base 64 URL or hex formats. Comparer compares two requests or responses to find subtle differences. So these tools are integrated under one interface, which makes Burp Suite very efficient for tester. Each module can be used individually or in combination depending on what kind of vulnerability you're testing for. So let's dive deeper into the most important component, the Burp proxy. The proxy is where all HTTP traffic is captured and displayed. When enabled, Burp intercepts HTTP or HTTPS requests from your browser before they reach the target web server. Here you can see the request tab showing methods like get or post, header, parameters, and cookies. You can modify these values for exchanging, for example, changing a username of then session token or parameter and then forwarding it to see how the server reacts. This is extremely useful for uh, discovering logic flaws, broken authentication, or input validation. The proxy also allows you to view all responses, which is key to detecting information leakage or security misconfigurations. So, in short, Burp proxy gives you total visibility into the communication between the client and the server. So, two other modules you'll use very frequently are repeater and intruder. So, repeater is mainly used for manual testing. You can take any request captured in the proxy and send it to the repeater tab. Once there, you can make small modifications like changing parameters or tokens and resending the request multiple times to observe the response. This is perfect for checking how the server handles unexpected and malicious inputs. On the other hand, the intruder module is for automation. It allows you to define payload positions and run attacks with a list of inputs like usernames or passwords to test for vulnerabilities such as weak authentication or parameter tampering. You can choose between different attack types: sniper, blattering, RAM, cluster bomb, depending on how you want to combine payloads. Together, these modules save a lot of time and allow deep testing with both precision and automation. So, okay, now we will look at some practical examples. First we'll configure the proxy, intercept login request, send to repeater and modify parameters. Okay, so I will head to my Firefox browser. So, first of all, we'll make sure that the burp is listening on a local port. So, what we will do is first go to the proxy settings over here and add 127.0.0.1 at 8080 port number. So, you can add it from here. Then, the second step is to uh, configure it with the browser. I am using Foxy Proxy as a extension to configure the. Okay, so now what we will do, I'll turn on the intercept in Burp Suite. So here is the intercept button inside the proxy tab. So I'll turn the intercept on in the Burp. So the next request from the browser is captured. Okay, I've turned it on and make sure this is on too. Okay, this is on. Then I will capture a request now. Okay, when I press login, I've tapped on login. Okay, the request was not captured. All right. Okay, when I tap on login now, so you can see the Burp Suite icon is blinking. So the request gets captured over here. Here's the intercepted request. So this is a post to this endpoint. You can see userinfo.php. This is the endpoint, and this is the request we have captured. So we can see here the request headers are over here: user agent, host, content type, content length, origin, its connection, referrer, etc. etc. So the request body contains form parameters. For example, this username and password. So these tell us that where parameters live and how the server expects them. Okay, so the next step would be I'll send this request to the repeater for manual testing. So I'll right click over here, send to repeater. So once it is in repeater tab, we can edit or modify any values over here. So repeater, you can change any part of the request. So over here, at I will be modifying the username and password parameter. So here I will write test and password as ts test. Okay. So here is the request. It is the request, and on the right hand side, we will be able to see the response once we hit the send button. Okay. So yeah, here's the server's response to the modified request. To get the status code, it returned 200 OK over here. This is the status code. So now it also might be a redirect 302 or 401 unauthorized uh, status code depending on our test. So also check there are for example response headers, for example a set cookie indicator, a new session or location header for redirects. These clues over here tells us uh, whether our modification changed application behavior. So if we see uh, an unexpected output, for example an SQL error or reflected in input in the page, it could indicate a vulnerability. So to point out specifically, if you receive a 200 and a page indicating success, the this suggests that the app accepts the modified input. Okay, so yeah, in summary, we configured the browser proxy, intercepted a request, sent it to a repeater, changed a parameter, and analyzed the server response. You can use the same approach to test input validation, authentication, and session handling. So next steps in a fuller test would include automated fuzzing with intruder, or scanning with Burp's Pro Scanner, and creating a clear report of confirmed findings with reproduction steps. So we have to remember over here to always test with permissions. All right. Okay, so we will continue with our PPT. So let's go over the kind of vulnerabilities Websuit helps to identify. SQL injection. So when user input is inserted into SQL queries unsafely, then it might lead to SQL injection. Then cross-site scripting, where attackers inject malicious scripts into web pages. Then we have cross-site request forgery when it tricks users into performing unwanted actions. Broken authentications or IDOs. So broken authentication is weak login mechanisms that can be exploited, and an IDOR uh, when users can access unauthorized data by manipulating parameters. So Burpsuit's model helps us manually or automatically testing for each of these issues, making it an all-in-one web security toolkit. It's extremely important to talk about the ethical side of using Burpsuit. So Burp is a powerful tool, but using it without authorization can lead to serious legal issues. Always ensure that you have permission before testing any website or application. Also, here note that the community edition of Burpsuit community edition of Burpsuit, it doesn't include the automation features like the scanner or scheduling. Those are only available in the professional or enterprise version. But for learning and manual testing, the community edition is more than enough. Okay, to summarize everything we have learned, Burpsuit is an essential toolkit for web application penetration testing. And it combines manual and automated features to help testers identify, analyze, and exploit vulnerabilities. From intercepting requests to modifying parameters and performing fuzzing, Burp provides total control over browser server communication. Okay, so thank you for watching my presentation of Burp Suite. I hope this has given you a clear understanding of its architecture, features, and importance in web application security testing. Yeah, thank you.